The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant the mother of humanism, Tao.
You're back. I fear I've told you all I know. Is there anything else I can help you with? Oh? Stupendous. I didn't think he'd pull through. Thank God. And indeed, Mr. Everard as well. In this investigation, one may have use for a firearm. You wouldn't want to get caught with your pants down. Did you now? What sort of borscht is he making? The strike brew. That's a classic. And by turn up the heat, I presume you mean put more alcohol in it? Beyond curious. I will choose to interpret that as you turning the alcohol in the strike brew down, for the sake of our professional relationship. And because I don't like the idea of them any more drunk than they already are. What else? Of course, Detective. You can always drop by later, should something... What would you like to know? Good.
She nods.
Of course. Anything. I am sorry to have more lessons in basic reality. Glad to have been of assistance.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and what do you mean, actual source? I thought this issue was resolved. What?
Ma'am, what he's saying is true. We found an anthroponetic anomaly in the small Pinewood church down the coast. I don't mean to be an alarmist, and more research is needed, but it's not looking good.
But that's not in any of the ancient texts. How am I supposed to protect my bookstore from that? You're right, officer. I mustn't lose faith, especially now that Annette is finally settling in at school and making friends. No, we can't just leave. Besides, Didn't I have some Sailite hope catchers round here somewhere? I must find them. Everything will be all right if I can just find them. Thank you for your help in any case. You're welcome back here any time.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? I'm listening. I'm pretty sure it still doesn't work, but sure. What do you want to know? Yes, I guess so. The arcade is an ancient failure, before my time. I'm not surprised, however. My advice, don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, floriography, trick-track, especially pinball. Sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here. She has begun to idly clean one of her carving tools with a dirty kerchief, the tool's sharp edge shining in the light of her desk lamp.
I thought we agreed that the curse isn't real. I'm listening. Excuse me? A 2mm hole in reality? This can't be true.
I'm afraid it is, ma'am. Sona Lukanen killed the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident made the discovery.
Sona is involved in this? So it's even worse than I thought. It's not just the commercial area that's cursed, it's the entire world.
She looks outside the window where daylight has filled the yard.
Just Martinez? In any case, thank you for stopping by. It's good to have an answer, even if I can't claim to understand it fully. Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney. The stones and minerals on the shelves rattle as though agitated. For a moment, it almost feels as though you're outside the building, exposed to the atmosphere.
Didn't we already talk about this? What are you talking about? My address is exactly the same. Rue de Saint-Guilain 10.
No, the old coal plant that used to be here was subsumed into the new venture, its ruins swallowed up. Yet it has a different address in the heart of the city.
This doesn't make any sense. Are you saying my business was spared because of a technicality? Where is this coming from? And what? Does it mean that I'm safe from failure?
Don't let her become complacent. She still needs to ward her soul against the evil forces.
Do you know what this is? It's a mourning ring. I made this when my first company failed. It was a small jewelry shop right here in the East Delta Commerce Center, built with the little I inherited from my parents. I drove it into the ground within a year. I didn't have what you would call a viable business plan. It wasn't just the jewelry shop either. I always thought that it was just the world that you were supposed to try again and again until you finally succeed. And now you're telling me what? That it was all because I didn't run my little shops and ventures from a dump inside an abandoned chimney? Yeah. Or maybe it's the entire world that's cursed. It's such a precarious place. Nothing ever works out the way you want it. That's why people like role-playing games. You can be whoever you want to be, you can try again. Still, there is something inherently violent even about dice rolls. It's like every time you cast a die, something disappears. Some alternative ending or an entirely different world. But anyway, thanks for sharing your theories, officer.
A thick layer of coal dust. The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved...
Oh, sorry, officer. What do you want?
Host Almighty. He's a total bummer now. The dented yellow mailbox greets you.
Yes, for sending mail.
A common office radio, like any of those found in countless waiting rooms, lounges, and other semi-public spaces all over the world.
There's usually a little switch somewhere. Ah yes, it's the one that says release.
The lock disengages with a nice click. You may now safely remove the transceiver unit. There's nothing obviously remarkable about it. It's about the size of a common pasta box, with knobs of molded plastic. What else is there to say? If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant at a large logistics firm. Perfectly competent, but unexceptional.
I don't think the people who typically buy these machines are very concerned with questions of style.
The transceiver appears slightly hurt by your comment. There's nothing obvious. If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant.
I'm not sure where you're getting that. It's a perfectly fine transceiver, and this is a perfectly ordinary office.
The transceiver appears slightly bewildered by... There's nothing... If this transceiver were a person...
Yes, reliable and unassuming are definitely words I'd use to describe you.
Regardless, the transceiver appears to take your words as a compliment. There's nothing... If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant at a large logistics firm.
I'm sure the transceiver understands, Detective. Now let's go.
It's true. The transceiver appears quite forgiving. There's nothing... If this transceiver were a person, it would be...
I suppose it does have a certain no-nonsense appeal, if you prefer that sort of thing.
The transceiver appears quite at peace with its appearance. There's nothing... If this transceiver were a person, it would be...
Very good. Let's get going, then.
The transceiver appears glad to be of service.
You've surprised me more than once during the course of our investigation, but I have to say it still seems like a remote scenario. It doesn't, frankly. Don't get me wrong, this appears to be a fine transceiver for a general audience. Show me what, Detective? It doesn't, frankly. I suppose it will.
With its transceiver gone, the radio has ceased its persistent buzzing. It is as silent as a headstone.
Mr. Dubois, every worker is a god, right? What can I do for you today? Fanny. That doesn't ring any bells, Harry.
Funny. She was trying to set up a narcotics operation in the old church on the coast.
Oh, that a cell. Yes, I do seem to remember sending a pretty young thing down there to liven up the place. Get some melodic music in there. Amphetamine lab? That sounds very immoral and debauched. Frankly, a health risk. But what do I know about kids these days? The music they listen to, the drugs they do while they listen to that music?
It sounds to me like you are trying to start an amphetamine lab in the district. And you're using some delinquents you found, God knows where, to set it up and run it for you.
Found God knows where? That a cell is the daughter of Miko the kebab, a man who once killed a guy with a kebab. I think a daughter of a man who killed a man with a kebab can handle running a little nightclub, don't you? Maybe it was Bogovir. Or Jakub. I think it might have been Conrad. A nightclub? Harry, I'm an old-fashioned guy. After work, I like to listen to some rock and roll music and have a non-alcoholic lager. Nightclubs don't interest me. But here I am, talking about myself, when you have much more important things going on. Tell me, Harry, how can I help you?
Everything's still cool here, officer. Tapes? You mean like music tapes? No, music is out. Don't listen to music. I sell extremely cool sunglasses if you want to get your mojo going. Tapes? Tapes are everywhere. They're worthless. Kids throw them in the trees. There's one in the bushes, right behind this lorry. No one would ever throw a good pair of high-quality plastic sunglasses in the bushes, mister.
To the west, dark brown ribbons of tape hang from the tree, flowing in the wind. You should have a look. It's better than nothing. The hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gilles Lane. Bronze-colored ribbons of magnetic tape are caught in its branches, fluttering in the breeze. Just like promised, you've stood here for what seems like eons, guzzling the sickly fumes of lorries and carriages. Patting the tree reveals a small sticker which has almost been worn to oblivion. It reads, RCM Emergencies Desk, number 8102, underneath a slogan, Mankind, be vigilant. You tree-hugging pansy. The bronze ribbon twists around and within the branches in an intricately natural pattern. But there's something. There's a twisted logic in this mess. You see the ends of the ribbon, the way it flows, how it twists and turns. It's all starting to make sense. It'll be easier to remove now. With slow and deliberate motions, pulling, bending and unraveling, you manage to extricate the magnetic tape from the branches. It curls up into a mess inside your pocket. If only you could find a way to re-spool it, so that you could hear what's on the tape. Maybe Roy from the pawn shop can help you with this.
What's the tape for? How? It's broken and unspooled. Do you think your new buddy knows how to fix it? All right. You could also get it fixed at the pawn shop across the street. We shouldn't waste our time. You know, since tape spinning isn't really our day job, solving murder investigations is.
Good idea. He might have the tools. The tape projector in the pawn shop uses similar tape.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. A transceiver, is it? Yeah, we should have something to do the trick.
He produces a machine the size and shape of a common pasta box, a blue bake-like shell with a black face covered in an assortment of pearl-topped knobs and dials.
A genuine crystal sprach. This is a connoisseur's model, good for picking up foreign milieus.
The Model 9 also comes equipped with a signal purifier to suppress crosstalk, especially good around here with our funky reception.
In other words, it will put even the lieutenant's beloved Dynawave to shame.
It's about as close to perfection as a transceiver gets. And we're only asking 120 real for it. You'll be back again, I've got a feeling. You mean re-spool it? Yeah, I do, but... But I'm not some Mr. Fix-It. I'm a pawnbroker. If you want to pawn the tape, sure. Although it looks pretty... worthless.
Just explain why you need this so much. He's bound to understand.
Huh? What do you mean? Yes, what about it? Is it any good? The music, I mean. Man, you're really invested in this. Okay, I'll help you out. It's going to take a moment, though, so just sit back and relax.
You take some time to look around the store. The play of visuals all around the pawn shop is mesmerizing. Suddenly, Roy turns back to you with a reel of tape in his hand and coughs.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll do what I can for true passion projects. Just try not to use this tape for negative photon emissions. Take responsibility. Okay.
It's you again. What is it?
A better deal! Yeah! Medium car! Yeah! Remix time! Tape goes here, into deck B.
A hand on his ear, he listens to the audio through his headphones and shouts.
Wow! Did you get this from Arno himself?
A great excitement is bubbling to the surface within him. This is big.
Listen, I'm just going to show it to you. Ready? Now, if only we had the beat for the full assault, it would be unbelievably hyper.
What is this? It's good. How did you guys do that?
Yes, but what if Van Eyck based his remix on some forgotten local melody, like a folk song, and you just found the original piece that inspired him to create this jam? That would explain why it fits so well.
Nah, to me it sounds like classic Van Eyck. I don't think he needs any inspiration from folk songs. Maybe he lives in Martinez and just threw away part of his song because he thought it wasn't good enough?
I think it's just happenstance. Chaos in action. Contingencies of our limited existence. That and Egghead's fantastic talent.
Noid's right. Egghead's technical talent is the key. No, this is definitely part of the same song. Something cut from it. It fits too well. Something mysterious is going on here.
Be how it may, if it fits, it fits! Bring up the volume!
What about the bass? Do you have any ideas for that?
Yeah, I remember. You said it needs more bass.
I think you might know the answer.
But how?
What about that compressor Andre was setting up to achieve some sort of parallel processing?
Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't figure it out. I think the jam's already pretty ultra.
But it could be hyper hardcore!
Bzz, 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 goes the track in the background, never ending. You can't grasp what's missing, but you can try to make something up anyway. You scrape the moldy recesses of your brain for some technological sounding jargon. It'll impress the large-headed speed freak. Isn't that what real artists do? Make it up as they go along.
The Fluxifier? Where is that? Top secret cop tech! Mega cool! You gotta bring us some, big sheriff! The future of hard sign depends on it!
Don't listen to him. He's making shit up. There's no top secret cop audio tech. There's other top secret spying on people tech, most likely. But cops don't care about music. Yo, man. What's on your mind?
Welcome back.
Oh, hey, man. It's good to see you. Goodbye, officer.
Yes?
Yes, what is it? Ah, very good. Let's see what you have. Not the most advanced model, But at least everything appears to be in order. Yes, this should serve our purposes.
No further comment necessary.
I believe that means we're ready to get started. I should warn you, once we begin setting up this antenna, we'll need to see the whole process through. There won't be any second chances, any do-overs. You understand? So if there's anything you'd like to get in order before we depart, I suggest you do it now. Ah, yes. I wasn't sure what to do about that, but then I discovered an abandoned power source down by the edge of the bay. In that case, let's move on. That's up to you. At a minimum, I would make sure you are physically and mentally prepared for an intense and difficult process. Once we begin, there can be no interruptions.
At the very least, you should make sure you're wearing a good pair of gloves.
Radio engineers typically carry overpriced solvent sprays to clean the antenna connections. But in a pinch, some common ammonia works just fine. Finally, there's the question of stimulants. Some people prefer to keep illegal amphetamines on hand to help with their work. I'm not one of them, but they do exist. I don't take them because they make me nauseous. But everyone has their reasons. I don't judge. Very good. If you'll help me with some of this equipment then.
Back across the waterlock. At least we are getting our exercise in today.
And now if you'll just connect that here...
It's done. I believe we are ready.
We're ready to try at least. Please put on these headphones. There should be 2 extra sets. I've configured the channels so that only your microphone is set to broadcast, officer. We'll all be able to listen, but anyone we reach will only hear your voice. You will need to transmit your connection request while I attempt to locate the warship's public frequency. You will likely encounter some interference, but it's important to keep transmitting your request until you're acknowledged. Ready? Then it will be exactly like every other moment of every other day. I ask again, are you ready? Good. Beginning transmission.
A soft rustling. Between your ears, a winterscape with fast falling snow. Every light switch, every motor carriage, every doorbell, tea kettle, and radio in Martinez, all mingled with electrical interference caused by scattered thunderstorms over Ozone.
Officer, are you in order? We're waiting for you to start. We don't have time for indecision. Just say whatever first comes to mind.
You're all alone out there, wandering a blasted heath, calling out to the night. But there is no reply, except for the buzzing of invisible machines. The lieutenant looks up at you with a nervous glance. Nervous for who, though, you cannot say.
Try again, officer.
Perhaps you're simply imagining it, but it seems as though you're learning to pull apart the fibers of this auditory felt. You focus on one strand in particular, one that sounds very nearly human.
Nein, Liebling, das lasse ich nicht zu. Wie kannst du unseren Jungen bloß auf einem dieser Dinger nach Fredefort schicken? Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oscar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist. Natürlich halten ihn die Psychologen für vollkommen normal, aber sie hat das Gefühl, seit seiner Rückkehr mit einem Fremden zusammenzuleben.
You can't make out a word of this gibberish.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind. Er kann doch auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen.
It isn't gibberish, it's Valder. Now please keep trying. Again?
It's cold now.
A slight frisson at the point where your neck meets your spine. Something about the lieutenant's words directed at you, but not you.
Mention what? I didn't say anything, Detective. Someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
An uncomfortable silence falls over the connection.
It's been a long winter. Long and cold. I promise you I didn't, even though it certainly sounds like me.
I can't say with certainty, but it sounds very much like anthroponetic crosstalk. It happens sometimes when sending transmissions across long stretches of pale.
Ah, yes, of course. That must be it.
Outwardly, they both exude calm, but there's something disturbing about this thought to both of them.
Natürlich halten ihn die Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
There won't be any later. This is our chance. Now please keep going.
But someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Dubois, please acknowledge.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind.
Worship Archer, please identify.
The signals are getting increasingly mixed. Plucking Archer's signal from this will be like isolating a single strand from a tangle of hair.
It's not working. The crosstalk is simply too strong. I did not expect simply locating the signal to be so difficult. We must consider several variables. Local anthroponetic conditions, the sophistication of our transceiver, the quality of our connections, and the physics of our antenna itself. Our transceiver is perfectly capable, so there is no problem there. And we're also unlikely to change our local anthroponetic conditions. So, the next step is to thoroughly inspect our connections. You need to climb up there and look at them for yourself.
Someone has been maintaining it.
Come on, son. This isn't anything but a common high bar. Just get a solid overhand grip and hoist yourself up. Images of your body smashed against the pavement flood your mind. This is dangerous.
That's true, but I can't leave my station, so it will have to be you. Then you might break your neck.
Your gloves give you a solid grip on the metal bar. This feels pleasingly familiar. Keep it together, champ. You've got this. And, before you know it, you're safely perched atop the monument.
Yes, you're a natural gymnast, detective. Now, would you like to do what you got up there to do?
The connection itself is nothing more than a little braid of exposed wire wrapped about the hoof of the horse. A copper fetter, it cannot slip. The whole monument is covered in a thin but durable layer of oil and grime. It's obvious no one has cleaned it in years. It takes a few moments, but the alcohol gradually begins to break down the oils surrounding the copper wiring.
Is this really the time, detective?
It's all right, Lieutenant. He's simply cleaning the connections.
Once the oils have been dissolved, you wipe off the connections with your sleeve and reattach the cable.
It seems to have made some difference, but unfortunately not enough to alter the overall situation.
Unser einziges Kind. Kann doch auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen.
Short of changing the shape of the antenna, I'm not sure what else we can do from here. And the lorries are all jammed together, so that's unlikely to happen. Ideally, narrow the receiving mode so that we can isolate the warship signal and eliminate the crosstalk. But if you don't know what you're doing, of course you could just make it worse. What do you mean? You adjust the antenna manually, with your hands. I'm afraid we're out of alternatives. You're just going to have to go for it.
She's right. The responsibility is yours, and yours alone. There's no turning back now. You are face to face with Philip III. The Bronze King looks toward the west. Something about his features seems bizarrely distorted. This faithful steed is in nearly as poor a condition as its rider. The sky is grey and overcast. Snow spirals all around you. Through the scrim, you can just make out the shadow of Coalition warship Archer a few kilometers to the east. You allow the broken hunk of metal to clatter to the ground. It wasn't clear to you it did anything anyway.
Nein, Liebling.
What are you doing? The connection is even worse now. This is extremely unprofessional. That is because you broke it. Things stop working when you break them. Or did you not know that?
She's right. This was your responsibility.
Damn it. I'm going to push the power supply. I doubt it will last more than few minutes, so you'd better make them count.
A maelstrom of sound, swirling and swirling around an invisible point. It's mounting. Mounting.
Nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist.
Lieutenant Dubois, please respond.
A long winter, long and cold.
And then, nothing.
Try it now.
This is Warship Archer. We are acknowledging and accepting you. Though we're still getting quite a bit of interference.
This is the best we can do. I suggest you get to your business quickly. I doubt I'll be able to maintain even this connection very long.
This is it. You're finally getting to speak with those who hold real power. And by that they mean the ones with the guns and the warships. There is so much you wish you could ask, but you probably only have time for 1 or 2 questions before the signal is lost.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public frequency. What is your request? A very important question, with a very simple answer. We want humanity to endure. Beyond that, it may be said that we are the inheritors and stewards of Dolores Day's legacy.
Dolores Day. So beautiful.
Oh, incomparably so. But that isn't what made her so remarkable.
Not true. Her beauty was like a glowing coil on a hot stove, and yet you felt blessed to touch it.
She was the greatest innocent, the single most consequential being to have ever lived. Her legacy touches every aspect of modern life. Immeasurable. It includes interstellar travel, 3 scientific revolutions, humanism, internationalism, the welfare state, and balance of terror theory. Nothing less than the intellectual foundation of our modern order. The role of the Moralist International is twofold: to buy humanity sufficient time to perfect itself, and to patiently guide it along the road while protecting it from ideological highwaymen and eschatologists. It was established by many of the same founding party members who elected Dolores Day, and who, after her assassination, dedicated their lives to the continuation of her political and intellectual project. It's an elegant idea, one of the cornerstones of the modern era. In short, it holds that durable, lasting peace is possible when the major powers are capable of inflicting unacceptable and irreversible destruction upon one another. Because no rational state is willing to accept the risk of such a calamity befalling its own people. All powers are incentivized to de-escalate conflicts before they reach the point of no return. For the most part, it has. The world is certainly not free of violent conflict, but in the modern era, we have made great strides to reduce its frequency, duration, and severity. The communists say they are the next dialectical step in an inexorable spiral of progress. They claim to have resolved the inherent contradictions of moralism and believe they're just one revolution away from establishing a humanist paradise. The fascists say they are both the ancestors of and the successors to the Loyanism. In other words, they believe that Dolores Day's reign simply represents a glorious phase of expansion within a greater Franco-Nigerian heritage. They criticize the DeLorean project for accepting and integrating new peoples rather than forcefully subjugating them. And then, there are our prodigal cousins, the Vazan Social Democrats, who hold our same values and have even adopted many of our same rights and iconography, though they persist in rejecting the umbrella of moralism.
For some reason, it's the Social Democrats she sounds most exasperated with.
We don't resent them. It's more that we are disappointed that they have chosen to emphasize certain points of dispute over broad areas of accord.
She speaks of them like a family member she's abandoned hope of ever maturing.
But of course, they also remain dependable partners in a number of centrist governing coalitions. The RCM exists under the umbrella of the coalition, just as the coalition exists under the umbrella of the Moral Intern. At the same time, the RCM is not exactly off the coalition. We are not that familiar with RCM lore and practice, but we believe that may be the case. As we recall, the decomptage originated with the Revacholian commune itself.
There is some truth to that.
But in a practical sense, it's the responsibility of the ethics divisions to ensure that both organizations are working toward the same ends. One now committed to upholding moralist values. Strange, isn't it? History is a river coursing ever downward. Occasionally, its course is redirected in mysterious and unexpected ways. Let us answer your question with a question. Have you ever seen evening fall over the old town of Vesperashit? If you had, then you would remember. It is one of the great wonders of the world, impossible to mistake or forget. The heart of the city, the old town, is a district composed of weather marble, comprising thousands of columns and arcades arranged around a series of grand plazas. During the day, it's a beautiful sight, equal to any of the great cities of Pericarnassus. But as the sun sets, the shadows cast by those columns and arcades weave together to form an intricate ombre lattice. When you see it, you suddenly understand. It was all built for you, for this very moment.
The name Ad Vesperascit means evening comes.
For you, for all of humanity. Not only that, but you are also part of that centuries-long plan. When you cross one of the open plazas, your own shadows is effortlessly woven into the great lattice work, a deliberate synthesis of humanity, art, and the natural world. Yes, it is. We grew up there. We have seen the lattice with our own eyes. She was. There are even those who say that Ad Vesperashit summoned Dolores Day, or that it was built in preparation for her, centuries before her arrival. That's why the old town is sometimes called the ceremonial heart of humanity. Of course, such a city does not spring from nowhere, nor does it endure without effort. Its construction was the work of many generations, and its preservation is an equally monumental responsibility. About 3,000 years.
She really had that on the tip of her tongue. It's like she has the timeline laid out right in front of her.
It does, doesn't it? And yet, there remains a great deal to be done in that span.
I'm not joking, officer. I'll only be able to hold the signal open for a few more moments. What you came here to ask it now.
Is everything all right? Acknowledged. To reach the committee, all you need to do is fill out the appropriate request form and submit it to the Liaison for Public Affairs. If the liaison accepts your request, you will be invited to address the committee at their next quarterly public hearing. We believe the next hearing is scheduled for July. Not a problem. If this is a time-sensitive matter, you may file an emergency address request with the liaison for public affairs. They typically respond within a few weeks. We're afraid that is quite impossible, Lieutenant Dubois. We cannot transfer you to the committee because we are not entrusted with that responsibility. We are simply the second signaler.
Then, why are you wasting time with her? You should demand to speak with who's really in charge.
We're here, Lieutenant. Though we have to say, this is all quite out of sequence.
This line of argument is quite pointless. You should abandon it.
What part of need to reach the committee doesn't she understand? Time to lay it all out.
We will hear your request, Lieutenant Dubois. Although we must inform you that the committee does not typically intervene in personal matters.
That's only because they haven't heard about your problems yet.
So, you're experiencing acute memory loss. We don't see how this is the committee's business.
Ah, good God, here we go.
We're afraid we don't understand at all. What does this something have to do with your lost memory? Unfortunately, we cannot accept your request. We really have no idea what you're talking about. But we are quite sure it is beyond the purview of the committee of responsibility. Now, please excuse us while we update the receiving frequency. This connection will be cleared in 4, 3...
Quick, hang up on her first. And the line goes quiet. There, you really showed her. The lieutenant gives a long sigh as he removes his headphones. He looks up at you.
I think it's best for you to climb off the statue now, Detective. Your real work is done here.
There's a damp cold running up the insides of your thighs. Your legs have grown stiff. You've been up here quite a while. You look around. The strikebreakers are still shouting their slogans and waving their hand-painted signs. Beneath you, the lieutenant and the programmer have begun disconnecting a few cables.
Good. Now give me a hand with these amplifiers. Leave the cables. I don't feel like making 2 trips.
What's one more trip across the waterlock?
Well, this was an interesting collaboration. Really? I do not think we were all that successful. But maybe the RCM has a different definition of success. In any event, just leave that equipment here. I'll put it away later. If you'd like, you can take one of the extra headsets. I don't need so many spares. Now, you'll excuse me? I have to get back to my own work.
Date of birth generator. You were born in the year 07, in the last year of the commune of Revachol, right before it fell, in the old military hospital on the ground floor, where people usually came to die during a snowstorm. The revolution had about 1 year left to go, and the fires were still burning bright. There were explosions in the blizzard. This was 44 years ago. You are 44 years old. The bloating might never leave your face, but beneath it, you still have some years. You still have some hope.
Yes, what is it?
A better deal! Yeah!
Yo, man. What's on your...
Welcome back.
Oh, hey, man. It's good to see you.
You close your eyes and dream of the shapes your body should form to bring this strange music.
But just
puts a grin on your face just to think about it. Even a failed attempt gets the juices flowing and repairs some of the damage done by battles. Salvation.
Goodbye, officer.
Yes?
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You the face of King Fleece, comrade, but like the structures of capital. Perhaps so, please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds. This section, you also... Whoa! Apparently, you flip back to the front. The display rack is brimming. This is entirely, completely you. You have found...
It is a bestseller for a reason.
The edges of the pages are worn and smudged. A lot of people have read about the Devil Woman's altercations with the Heimdall man. The jacket copy proclaims, "Man from Heimdall returns in his most exciting adventure yet. After crashing into a strange jungle, cannibalistic natives abduct his only surviving comrade, Noble Tiribold. Before Man from Heimdall can mount a rescue, he is ambushed by a tribe of female warriors and taken to the ancient citadel of Cloud City, where a mysterious and wicked queen rules supreme. Will Man from Heimdall be able to escape his dire situation and find his missing friend?" You open the book to a random page. Man from Heimdall, wielding his two Zweihanders, is carving through a sea of savages, his visage fixed in grim determination. His arms, whirling like windmills, are soaked with the blood of his enemies. Mangled corpses litter the battlefield. It calls out to you. This is the spirit of Revachol. Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as he brings glory and honor to his long-lost Heimdall tribe. From the village of Heimdall, the ivory giant roars like an ice bear, and the winds of Gatla howl out his name. Man from Heimdall rides on a gilded griffin, his golden mane billowing in the breeze. Both Zweihanders sheathed on his back. He is off to war. Will he conquer his enemies? Will he conquer himself? The steel muscles of Man from Heimdall gleam in the humid jungle air. Yet the man does not sweat. In meditation, his soul drifts in the frigid northlands he calls home. A passage reads, "The man from Heimdall looks up, his eyes blue as the mountain lakes of his homeland. He rarely speaks, but now his voice booms in the darkened throne room. Do not try to sap my masculine essence, wicked temptress. Son of Heimdall will never succumb to your seductive wiles. Thine spells are no match for purity and strength of will. Brothers of Heimdall, stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible, yet mine is forged in gore and strife." Queen Lydiana just laughs, a sultry and salacious sound, then says, "I have grand plans for you, Man from Heimdall." She gestures her diabolical hand toward an array of potions and unguents. "First, you shall please me. Then lead my armies against the vicious cannibals. Not a muscle moves in the face of the Man from Heimdall. Yet inside, there is turmoil. This goes against all he holds sacrosanct." In the final pages, Man from Heimdall mounts Gallavarin, his mighty griffin, and turns his gaze to the horizon. Queen Lydiana is dead, but an army of cannibals is storming the gates, and still there's no word of trusty Tiribold. To find out what happens next, you'll have to pick up Man from Heimdall and the Three-Eyed Skull, available in fine bookstores everywhere. Spring 39. It's getting late, and it's snowing. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is...
It's getting cold. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. The place feels almost like home now, quiet and dignified around you. A new life by the seaside. You're incredibly tired. The darkness and warmth come fast. You're falling asleep.
It's easier this time. Drifting off, your head has found a comfortable indent in the pillow. Your legs and your torso feel like lead weights sinking to the bottom of the sea. And
this respite, you've earned it, brother. Bask in the darkness. Let it swallow you up and swivel you around while you forget everything you've managed to remember. No, you haven't. You've just been. No, this is the one before that. We'll just keep cycling it for you if you don't mind. As long as we can. Spin it like black yarn.
enjoy it while it lasts.
You're welcome, Harry boy. You earned it.
After centuries of darkness, the alarm rings. But what's this? You actually feel rested. There's no time to cuddle with your pillow, however, or as much as shiver from the cold. The world awaits.
Yes? What about me? What? This? It's just seasonal clothing. Where is this going? Interesting. I think it's called a brain.
It's no mere brain.
Okay, art cup. I do not harbor a sentiment for revolutionary air brigades in particular. Okay, I wanted to become an aerostatic pilot. Then I turned 10 and realized we no longer have an air force. Absolutely nothing. Good. Good. Let's change the subject.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Yes. The armor was produced by Fairweather in their facilities in Bétancourt, sur la Clé in 42. It was part of a special order for Corps de Pharmacie, a security firm contracted to protect the interests of Oranese pharmaceutical companies in the Semenine conflict. So, it seems the armor went to Semenine. That's where the paper trail ends, though. Even the firm has proven difficult to track. Corps de Pharmacie has been renamed several times over in the years since the armor was issued. Yes, that is the most recent name the ICP has been able to connect to the CDP. And the one before it was Downwell. I also have one called Sediment, but I think that might be a different contractor. No, they work called Sediment. And Somatosensor, it seems. All that during the last 9 years.
A suit of armor like this would have been manufactured with a particular person's physique in mind. You should ask for whom this suit was fitted.
Yes, but the ICP tends to be reluctant to share private sector records. I could try to talk them into it, though.
This is a fun challenge for her, an opportunity to contribute beyond doing her job by rote. She'll gladly put in the extra effort for Team RCM.
Glad to help. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have more for you then. Just a sec. Sylvie? Yes. Hello? Oh, great. No? Not me? Okay. You mean why?
Why not?
Maybe, I don't know. I just know.
You hear the...
Anything else I can help you with? Just a moment.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-4, sir. Sorry, but I'm under orders to give a negative to request for personal information. Over. 10-4. Orders are still orders. Anything else? Over. Roger that. 10-10.
Again? I can't. I'm going to say no. Just to see what you'll say to. God fucking shit.
None of this is great news. Okay, I was clearly wrong. He is a firefighter, male nurse.
Neither can I, partner.
It's a mere second, but it feels like...
Okay, why not? Let's do the... You think he was hanged as a cover-up? To hide the shooting? Okay, well... I don't know. Why are you?
It's like you felt it would be intellectually stimulating and would lead somewhere. A custom even? Strange. You know what? It must be because he's buff. He looks like he works out, like he's got the devil on his back.
Oh my god, there's more. You want something more? What is it?
Yes? What is it? Okay. Yes. That was pretty good.
What? No. There are universal standards of good out there, and that was just complete shit.
Jean, he's not right. Treat him like you treat McCoy's little brother.
Lieutenant W. Freighter, John Archetype McCoy's younger brother, Lance McCoy, although a man of 32 years, will mentally never surpass a 6-year-old. No idea. Just passing on information stored in your fractured neural cortex.
And I'm not going to pretend like he's got a learning disability. Now he's got a problem with learning disabilities? Is that supposed to be ironic?
Jean, detective, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Hey, was there something you needed?
An old called East Delta Commerce Center. This must be the name of it. Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. Stronger, healthier, and... all right, maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember any of your past relationships. Oblivion's the ace in your corner. There's a light buzz as you press the doorbell, waiting for her to answer the call. It's cold outside, and you can hear the wind blowing into the speaker. A strange metallic taste fills your mouth as you stare at the intercom. There's the static again, whispering like a seashell pressed against the air.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order? My God.
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax. Distance yourself from it.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice again.
Wait, is she...
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months. I thought you didn't care.
Is this some kind of joke? The voice from the intercom doesn't answer, but you can hear her breathing. Wind blows into your microphone again, crackling and echoing in the box. Your hands are getting cold and your breathing becomes visible, forming small silvery puffs in the air.
Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean. It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget about you.
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed completely. Her quiet sobs sound old and distant, as if her voice is being played off a wax cylinder. Real or not, your mirror neurons react. It feels painful to be listening to this. Anger boils up in your chest. Her sound melts into the static from a long-distance phone call. From time to time, you can hear people talking in the distance, but can't make out any words. This is where you hung up the call the last time, but the recording is still going. A phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and someone walks by in a pair of heels. The static is like a warm blanket wrapped around the sounds. No one replies, but the static grows stronger like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different from the one before. Glorious and total somehow, crawling inside your head.
For 300 years I have been here, volatile and luminous, made of sodium and rain. If you want me, you can find me on the beach. Donna Ball.
So... it was a recording trapped in the circuitry from some ancient tenant. This sometimes happens. Shall we conclude here? We have other mysteries to solve. I don't have time to explain it to you right now. Maybe sometime later. Don't take this the wrong way, but during our short stint working together, something weird is almost always happening to you.
That is true.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
I ain't no...
Actually...
We weren't put on this earth to make... Ooh.
She does have...
Shoot, Piggy. You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Oh? Of course, Detective. You can always drop by late.
There was... She nods.
Of course. Anything to help. Or he didn't. This is that the man...
This does not come...
Last Sunday night. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. Good. Then you've made progress. It's imperative that you move fast. The tribunal will not be patient. I have an indirect role to play. They were
Every work...
A member of the board. Absolutely.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell. They wear ceramic armor.
So, what...
The story is, he was taken out. Nothing. It's a...
What is the...
Whether to...
It'll be all of them. The decision is already made.
It was the Union who strung him from that tree. My hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before Crenell indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
They would have to project strength and power.
The Débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant?
The Serai's giant...
These men...
The Muslim...
As I said, a bloodbath.
It appears you found it, yes, and I'm not happy for you.
Many bleak scenarios have already come true, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. What? If you mean did I see him alive? Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
This matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body, and Classier also mentioned it, I believe. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own.
Occidental. That fits the statement of another witness.
Yes.
Since you are sharing...
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. Not much. They boast a long
Meaning...
Yes. All the good conflict corridors. Supreme. Sadly, if you...
Do you know a lot?
In my line of work, I have.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
They've gone to grab. They don't have the same respect.
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol.
Somehow, I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down.
Did you miss the part about ceramic armor and automatic weapons, Detective?
That is a bad idea. One I won't be a party to. That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. Besides, you're likely to encounter them sooner or later, until the...
They don't report their
Not on this map. It's a matter of days, not weeks. Or he didn't. This is the remaining that the man...
This does not...
Last Sunday night. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted... Oh, good. Then you've made progress. It's... If you mean did I... Lely. He was for...
This match is Occidental. That fits the statement of...
I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with... Of course. Mr. Clare told him to... Fuck off, midget. Go on to his shorter... Yes.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
The scat.
Don't let her answer it herself.
To answer your question, yes, they were organized. Everard Clare, of course.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Have you seen him? Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. And when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. Of course. I'm glad you are.
Disappear?
Yes.
This forewoman, her name?
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
There are leaflet everywhere.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to everywhere. It's quite just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by... They're having a blast. I'm not sure. And now...
Excuse me.
I first heard it from the boy.
This checks out.
Of course.
The door is closed again. You hear someone inside. Walk in.